Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Good for Bitcoin. Crazy week that we're going to get into. Kate, how was your week?
It's feeling bearish and cold. Honestly, last year was like DeFi summer, and I feel like the weather was nice, and now it's, well, as we titled, the name of the show is Blood in the Crypto Streets, and also it's like freezing here in Canada, so not having fun.
It has been, it has been, I mean, it's still warm, but certainly, I mean, 4th of July is next week, and that certainly around 4th of July tends to be like the hottest time of year. And I feel like summer hasn't really, started yet here either fully.
Our European friends are sweating it out right now, apparently. There's like a heat wave, and
Really?
I'm like trying to bundle up.
Jeez. Yeah, crazy times, I guess. We were just talking before we started the show, like lots of bottom signals and seeing a lot more Bitcoin obituaries lately. Lots of people exiting their positions, saying, that Bitcoin is dead. It's not the, the proof of, or not proof of reserves. It's not, the
Reserve asset.
Yeah, like the reserve asset, the inflation hedge, the savings vehicle that they believed in. A lot of people that they bought the top at 120K, and now it's at, it's half, right? It's under 60K today. So yeah, lots of people saying that Bitcoin is dead, but I don't know. It's just it's just where we are in the cycle. Like it's pretty much exactly where we are in the 4-year cycle. This is it. We have probably about another 9 months of this, and next year will be probably a better year. But it's kind of boring, but that's just how it's gone, I think, so far with Bitcoin's 4-year cycles.
I would say if you are a new Bitcoiner, you'll get used to the deja vu over and over again. That's just how it goes, it doesn't worry me. It's kind of to be expected in some ways. So
yeah,
it just sucks when
pretty
you're in it, I
typical
guess.
that Bitcoin, has like an 80% drawdown every cycle. So we have not, if you go by that, we have not bottomed yet, but it is certainly feeling like that. The sentiment out there is pretty rough currently. But yeah, I mean, people are still buying, public companies are still buying, Strategy is still buying, which is interesting considering that they're struggling everywhere else. But Strategy bought 521 BTC this week. They now hold 847,363 Bitcoin. They also increased their USD reserve by $300 million, which brings them up to 1.4 billion to continue funding STRC dividends. And they say they plan to continue replenishing it week over week. And yeah, STRC has been struggling. It's at $75 today. I actually bought some STRC yesterday at $82. We talked about it last week. I was like, I almost bought some. And yeah, it went down again. And I was like, man, it's gonna go back up eventually. It feels like a somewhat safe bet. And it does feel like, I feel like the likelihood of STRC going back up to near $100 in the next like month or two is a lot higher than like Bitcoin going up an equivalent percentage.
Yeah.
So that was my bet, and I bought some STRC.
Congrats.
So we'll see what happens.
I feel like that bet will pay
I don't know
off.
if I need a congrats for that. We'll see what happens. STRC is going to be like $50 in a couple weeks. Just watch.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, that's funny.
So, but I'll get the dividends either way, I guess.
That's funny. Okay, so then we also have Strive. They bought 759 BTC. They now hold a total of 19,864.
And Orange BTC bought 19 Bitcoin. They now hold 3,822 BTC. So not a lot of buys, but I didn't see any sells either. So it's another kind of light week of quietly accumulating more Bitcoin.
Cool. Then we have Nakamoto. Every time, Brandon, I can't say this word. I don't know why. I
You would
laugh
think,
every
I
time.
mean, Satoshi Nakamoto, right? Like,
There's some neural pathway that just won't click for
yeah.
this word in my head. Anyway, Nakamoto has also winded down their healthcare business. This was Kindly MD, right? That's what I think it was
Yes.
called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they made a statement. They said the clinic closure reflects the company's full transition to a Bitcoin operating company focused on media and information services, asset management and financial services, and consulting and advisory services, designed to generate recurring revenue and support continued growth across the verticals. Makes a lot of sense.
Does make sense. Yeah, it certainly seemed like it was something that was tacked on.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a weird way of going public for them. Like they merged into Kindly MD, which was like this existing healthcare company, and then David Bailey became like the CEO or whatever of Kindly MD, and then they changed their name to Nakamoto,
Mm-hmm.
and then they brought on all of David Bailey's other businesses, UTXO Management and Bitcoin Magazine, all the other kind of media entities. And then then this is kind of the last step in like just closing the healthcare business down. And now they are Nakamoto and they are public. And yeah, I thought it was a little interesting. I thought it would be interesting if they continued doing, the healthcare stuff, because they did leave
Mm-hmm.
the original CEO of Kindly MD did stay on as like it was like chief like medical officer or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean that would be like another way of potentially having revenue. I'm not sure how strong their their healthcare business actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was like not profitable and it made more sense to just not have it at all. But that we talk about that a lot, right? These public companies need to actually be a business. They can't just hold Bitcoin and do nothing else. So it was interesting, but I guess now they'll just be focusing on revenue from UTXO management and from the Bitcoin conferences and the Bitcoin magazine subscriptions and stuff like that. Hopefully that pays the bills for them. And Bitcoin stacking.
There you go.
Yeah. Some more UTXO management news. I read this and it didn't make a lot of sense to me, and I had to kind of like break it down into kind of and explain like I'm five
Yeah.
that talked about it. But UTXO management initiated the first Bitcoin depositary receipt to trade through a prime brokerage platform and settle through the DTC. What the heck does that mean? A Bitcoin depositary receipt is a new type of financial product that lets big institutions own Bitcoin using the exact same systems and rules that they already use for stocks and bonds. So basically, it just makes it easier for traditional finance to buy and hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet rather than like, spinning up like a Coinbase custody account or something like that. So how it works basically is on the back end, real Bitcoin is held in a professional custody bank. Right now it's through Anchorage Digital. For every Bitcoin held, there's a matching receipt, which is the depositary receipt that's created. And this receipt is then a fully backed security. It represents direct ownership of the actual Bitcoin. The DR trades like a normal stock on Wall Street systems. You can buy and sell it through regular prime brokers, settles through DTC, which is the main US security settlement system, and it fits into existing brokerage accounts. And then anytime during trading hours, you can convert the DR into actual Bitcoin or vice versa. And that's called in-kind conversion. So yeah, pretty cool system. I think it's just designed to integrate Bitcoin a little bit more easily into traditional finance. I mean, we've seen one of the news items was this week was that Charles Schwab has officially rolled out native BTC trading on their app. We've seen Fidelity launch it a few months ago. But I'm not sure exactly how Charles Schwab is doing it because I don't have an account there, but if you want to buy native Bitcoin on Fidelity, you're basically setting up a new account. You're not like buying native Bitcoin in your like, regular brokerage account on Fidelity. But with this, it sounds like you potentially could do that. And it's kind of opening up just better integration for the future. So pretty interesting. UTXO management, kind of leading the way there. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that is super cool. I feel like they're gonna do It seems like they're kind of experimenting with a lot of interesting ways as an institution to like deploy your Bitcoin, what you can do with it. Obviously, like they're going to be a partner with Stacks for Bitcoin staking, which is cool. So I don't know. I like this. It's kind of just like showing like other banks or institutions or funds or whatever, like what is possible, which is cool to see. And yeah, they also, I just wanted to shout them out. They received an award last week. Their fund, I guess it's called 210K Capital. They were named the best performing fund over 3 years by the Hedge Fund Journal. So it's basically based on 3 years of performance across varied Bitcoin and digital asset market conditions. So they're doing a great job. And I feel
cool.
like they're just more like not experimenting in a bad way, but just like paving the way. And they're obviously doing it in a very like safe and custodial first kind of direction.
Yeah. I think with the depositary receipts, it'll be super interesting to see, like, I mean, could we have like a Bitcoin staking depository receipt type of instrument in the future? Like, who knows, right? I don't know what the legalities are. You know, when you think of like, stable coins can't be like, you can't receive interest on stable coins through the Genius Act. Like, does this maybe open up a possibility of that in the future?
Yeah.
I don't know, just speculating, but yeah, it'll be super interesting to see how this continues to evolve.
Yeah. Well, some bad news on the timeline from the Ethereum side of things. Yeah, they laid off 20% of their staff. I think it was announced earlier this week, right? So they are cutting about 40% of their budget, and yeah, that included 20% of their staff in a layoff. So Vitalik posted a blog post on Tuesday and basically just said this year is going to be a shift towards a leaner endowment style operating model. So they cut 54 roles in total, which was the 20% of their staff. And he said the spending cuts are aimed at transitioning the foundation from spending around 15% of its remaining treasury annually before 2026 to a more long-term target of roughly 5% per year after 2030. So just definitely trying to stretch that budget for as long as they can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's just kind of where we are in the market.
Markets are so tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And this, when you're in kind of the depths of the trenches of where we are, I guess, in the market, the main thing is just like survival with a lot of these companies. So if you can survive, I mean, Ethereum has been around obviously for a very long time. So, they have that Lindy kind of track record, but But yeah, that's kind of just the name of the game right now is survival. And sometimes you got to do some tough, cuts and tough decisions in order to make that happen.
Yep.
Some other quick headlines of the week. Already mentioned Charles Schwab. They officially rolled out native BTC trading on their app. So now you can buy native Bitcoin. Also saw some very small Clarity updates. Congress has scheduled a hearing for the Clarity Act on July 17th. So maybe in less than a month, we'll have some clarity on Clarity. We'll see. We keep talking every time. Every time we mention Clarity, we're like, it's getting closer. It's getting closer. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on the 17th.
Yeah, that's funny. I feel like when Bitcoin news is slow, usually people start throwing around some stats. So I saw some stats on the timeline that I thought would be worth sharing. First one, 38% of the total Bitcoin supply has remained unmoved for more than 4 years. So that's a pretty big chunk. And 1% of that is Michael Saylor's, probably. And speaking of, I mean, if you look at the price, obviously we're down quite a bit. I think it's 35% since the beginning of the year. And that would put Strategy at a $14 billion unrealized loss on their Bitcoin investment.
Crazy. Yeah, I see a lot of people going back to like the Strategy FUD on the timeline this week. You know, Strategy stock has really taken a beating. STRC, obviously, we talked about is like not doing very well, and like there's just a lot of talk about like how is Saylor gonna get themselves out of this hole, and I think a lot of people are calling for them to sell some of their Bitcoin. But the thing is, like, because they're a public company, because they are currently holding a lot of Bitcoin at a loss, it could actually be like a good thing for them to sell some Bitcoin, like from a tax perspective, right? If you sell at a loss, that's like a capital loss. So you get to kind of write that off on your taxes or some of it anyway. And by selling your Bitcoin, you would also potentially improve the like the shareholder to Bitcoin ratio, whatever that ratio is. So yeah, there's people calling for them to sell. And I think that also the interesting thing is that STRC now seems like it's needing to be even more protected than the MSTR stock is.
Mm-hmm.
So like the MSTR stock might go down sort of in relation to STRC a little bit more. But STRC, they need to like continue to like keep STRC afloat. So that was another reason why I was like, well, MSTR might go down more. Maybe they'll sell some Bitcoin, but that might actually be good for like STRC. So might not be good for Bitcoin, but maybe it'll be good for STRC in the short term. So we'll see, I guess, what happens. But I don't know. It feels like weird that, especially even like this week, like they bought 521 Bitcoin. Like, did they really need to do that? I guess they also like, they increased their USD reserves, but I don't know. Maybe they can just like stop buying Bitcoin for a little bit and just kind of like let things settle down and, get back to normal. I don't know.
We're here to stir it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we had a note here. I don't know if it's still down, but Coinbase's base, so L2 chain, has been down for over an hour. I posted this like probably an hour before the show, so a couple hours ago. But yeah, they halted mainnet because the team was just working on an issue with block production. The issue was identified as a problematic block interfering with subsequent block building. So I haven't checked before the show if it was back up, but
I'm looking right now. It looks like maybe as of like 30 minutes ago, it's now back up, and they're saying that nodes need to be restarted in order to resume syncing.
Okay.
So yeah, that's not good, but
not fun.
Future of finance, I guess.
And then shout out to shout out to Canada.
Is cool.
So I don't know if it's like the government, because sometimes pension funds will invest in stuff like this. I think I saw another Canadian teachers pension fund or something like that. But Alberta, Canada announced they bought $220 million worth of Bitcoin exposure via MSTR, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly which branch, or maybe it's just like their provincial government that did it, but I'm about it. Alberta is very Bitcoin friendly. They're
I feel like this isn't the first time that we've mentioned. Maybe there was another province that purchased Bitcoin, but I feel like we've had similar. Maybe it wasn't MSTR, but yeah, I feel like a lot of Canadian provinces are with it on Bitcoin.
No,
it's pretty cool.
Just Alberta.
No, okay, never mind.
Yeah, they're like the Texas of the states. They're Texas of Canada. They're very like freedom-minded oriented.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other provinces would jump on this.
Maybe it's just Alberta that we've like mentioned multiple times on the show before.
For sure.
But interesting. Yeah, it's interesting certainly right now to be buying a lot of MSTR.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes for them, I guess.
We'll see.
It's curious,
I'll
like
tell
why
them
are
to buy
they?
STRC.
Yeah, I mean, why did they not buy it through like an ETF? Why did they buy like MSTR? That's interesting. No. Well, I think that wraps it up for the week. Kind of another quiet week.
For sure.
Been that way for a few weeks now, but
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time to go touch some grass and, just chill, I guess, is my financial advice for everybody this week that's listening.
I'm going to take that advice. Thank you. I'm going to buy some Bitcoin today and just go touch a little grass.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I guess we also didn't mention that it's Thursday and we're not streaming on Friday. So early show this week, just because we both have some stuff going on tomorrow. But we got to get the shows out every week, So we did it anyway. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you all next week, I think at the regular time next week. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you guys. Bye.